Aliyah lived in a small village at the edge of the hills. Her family had a small mud house with a wooden roof patched by her father every year after the rains. The walls were rough, and the floor was just hard earth that her mother swept clean every morning. Smoke from the kitchen fire always made the house smell like wood, and chickens walked in and out as if they owned the place. Aliyah was 20, quiet but cheerful. She had long black hair that she tied in a braid, and she'd liked to wear simple, bright clothes her mother stitched from old cloth. Her father worked with stones, fixing broken walls for people. Her mother grew vegetables and took care of their goats. Aliyah helped in everything, bringing water from the well, cutting grass for the animals, washing clothes by the stream, and looking after her younger brother Hamza, who was 10 and full of questions. Life was hard sometimes, but she liked it. The village was small, and everyone knew each other. Evenings were peaceful, with children playing outside and women sitting together to talk. One warm morning, Aliyah went to cut leaves from a tall tree near their field. She had climbed this tree many times. She moved quickly, her bare feet gripping the bark. The leaves were high and fresh, and she wanted the best ones for the goats. She was halfway down when a thin branch under her foot cracked. Before she could grab anything, she fell. It happened fast, like a flash. The world turned upside down and then hit her hard. She lay on the ground, gasping, pain shooting through her ankle. Hamza, who had been nearby, ran screaming for help. Her father came running and lifted her gently. They carried her home on a cot. The village healer came, pressed her swollen ankle, and said nothing was broken, but the tissues were badly hurt. She should not walk for weeks. The first days were the hardest. Aliyah lay on her bed near the kitchen fire, staring at the ceiling. The pain was sharp, but what hurt more was not being able to move or help. Everyone else worked while she stayed still. The goats bleated outside, and she could not feed them. Her mother carried heavy water pots, and she could not help. She felt useless and angry at herself. Sometimes she cried quietly when no one saw, but as the days passed, her pain became dull. She started thinking. She remembered how strong she had always felt before the full climbing trees, running up hills, carrying baskets. Now she felt weak, and she hated that feeling. Slowly, an idea grew in her mind. When she could walk again, she would not just return to normal. She would become stronger, so strong that nothing could break her again. When the swelling went down, she started moving secretly. At first, she just sat up and stretched her legs. Then she used a stick and took tiny steps in the courtyard. It hurt, but she kept going. She tied a rope to a flat stone and pulled it while sitting, using her arms. Later, she stood and pulled it while walking slowly. Every day she pushed herself a little more. She walked to the well and back, leaning on the stick. When her ankle got tired, she rested, then tried again. No one understood what she was doing, but she didn't explain. She just kept working. After a few weeks, she could walk without the stick. That day, she stood outside in the early morning sun, feeling proud. The village was quiet, birds just starting to sing, and she whispered to herself, "Now I begin." Her training became part of her daily life. At dawn, she went running on the goat trails up the hills. She ran slowly at first, breathing hard, then faster each day. She chopped wood with an axe, swinging it until her arms shook. She carried heavy buckets of water from the well, 2 at a time, gripping them tightly so they wouldn't spill. She lifted stones from the fields and stacked them to build a low wall for her mother's garden. Sometimes she tied firewood on her back and climbed the hill behind the house. Sometimes she chased Hamza up the mountain path, laughing and panting. The work was hard, and her muscles ached every night, but she felt alive. The pain was clean, like fire making her stronger. At first, people in the village laughed softly when they saw her. Some women said she was wasting her time. Some men joked that she was trying to be like them. Aliyah ignored them. She didn't want to prove anything to anyone. She just wanted to be strong again. As weeks passed, her body started to change. The soft parts of her arms turned firm. Her shoulders grew wider. Her legs became solid and strong. She could carry heavier things each day without stopping to rest. She no longer got tired while climbing hills. Her hands grew rough. Her skin darkened in the sun, but her eyes became brighter. She felt her spirit growing too, like a small fire turning into a strong flame. Months passed like this. The whispers stopped. Now people watched her with surprise. Children followed her when she ran up the hills, shouting her name. Women smiled when they saw her chopping wood. Her father began asking her to help with his stonework, and she could lift the big stones easily. Even her mother, who used to worry she would hurt herself again, began to smile quietly when she saw her daughter walk into the house, carrying a huge basket of firewood alone. Hamza told everyone in the village that his sister was the strongest person he knew. One cold morning, when the first snow showed out on the mountaintops, Alia climbed to the highest ridge above the village. The air was sharp and cold in her lungs. She stood on the edge, looking down at the tiny houses and the green fields. She remembered lying on her bed months ago, helpless and angry. Now she stood tall, her body strong, her heart calm. She felt proud, not proud to show others, but proud inside, because she had done it for herself. She walked back down slowly, smiling, the sun rising behind her. Life returned to normal, but Alia was not the same. She still held her mother with the goats and the cooking, and she still laughed with Hamza as they fetched water. But inside, she felt different. She had learned that strength was not given, it was made. It was built slowly, with effort and patience, like building a wall from stones. It came from not giving up, even when everyone doubted you. She knew that even if life broke her again one day, she could rebuild herself. That thought made her fearless. At night, after the work was done and the house was quiet, she sometimes sat on the roof. The stars shone above the black hills. The wind smelled of wood smoke. She looked at her hands, now rough and strong, and at her arms, now solid with muscle. She smiled to herself. She was still Aliatha, village girl who laughed in the fields, but now she carried a quiet power inside her. She didn't need to prove it. It was enough that she knew, and so she lived, simple as before, but stronger than ever.